Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. You are welcome to Latvijas kuģniecība webinar. Today we are hosted by Robert Kirkup, the Chairman of the Management Board, Ģirts Apsītis, Advisor to the Chairman of the Management Board, and Spūle, Finance Director. Before we proceed with the presentation, I will shortly introduce you with the agenda. Firstly, company's representatives will inform about the latest activities after the annual shareholders meeting and discuss future plans of the business development opportunities of Latvijas kuģniecība. Right after the presentation, we will open the floor for questions. We encourage you to ask questions during the presentation by typing them in the questions section on the right side of the screen. All questions will be addressed after the presentation. Dear speakers, I invite you to proceed with the presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Robert Kirkup, and I'm the Chairman of the Management Board of Latvian Shipping Company. As you know, we held on Tuesday our AGM, and various issues were discussed at it. And I believe many of you will have seen the reports of it. Our accounts were approved, and as you can read, we've agreed that our profits will be used to cover accumulated loss from previous years. Our accounts, which were audited by KPMG, will also be audited by KPMG in 2016. A new supervisory council has been elected. We've still got the same chairman of the Supervisory Council. We also held what was I believe the largest issue on the agenda, which was trying to gain support for a capital raising. We needed 75% of shareholders present at the meeting to vote in favour of this for it to be carried. However, we failed to achieve this with, I think it was just over 72% voting in favour. So that was, from a management perspective, was disappointing. We have been out there marketing and discussing this issue with the shareholders. Some of them did raise concerns, which was about their own ability to finance purchasing of new shares, and also whether we actually really needed to raise the 80 million we were intending to raise. But we failed to convince enough shareholders to support us, so we need to move on from that. This slide here really is to try and show you the issues facing us from a finance perspective. If you look on the top left-hand corner, you'll see that we have two vessels that require refinancing during the summer of 2016. We need approximately 34 million US dollars by then. We are talking to the bank that financed them in 2011, which is Credit Agricole, and we're confident that they will be willing to refinance those two vessels for a period of at least 2 years. In conjunction with that, we've also been talking to our larger bank syndicate, which we call this a $360 million facility. This is a ring-fenced facility for our 14 vessels. We had intended or wished that we would actually be able to renegotiate that so it wasn't ring-fenced, to give us a little bit more flexibility to be able to manage our finances in a more efficient manner. However, having failed to raise this or to get the shareholder support raising this capital, we will probably have to renegotiate a similar facility to the past. So I think that's that. Obviously very welcome for you to ask any questions you want on this, and perhaps it's best for me to leave it there and let you ask any questions you want, or you want to ask myself or Santa for clarification. So, this slide here, which we've already a little bit discussed, the capital raising, the refinancing options. We do believe we will be able to find refinancing, perhaps not on the terms that we'd want, but we do believe we will be able to do that. The issue on asset selling, I think we have always strived in the last few years to distinguish that we intend to carry on selling non-core assets. That's still a strategy of the management. Perhaps I will pass over at this stage maybe to Ģirts, who can talk you through a little bit on Lasco Invest. I can either do it now or a little bit later, but maybe we'll do it on one of the later slides. So then we talk about negotiating banks, which I've already covered previously. I'll let you ask questions on. So here, this is the current company structure. Where we have got crosses, this is just to highlight to you that we are trying to simplify the structure. We're trying to close down any superfluous companies. If you look on the top left-hand corner, you will remember that we had Skonto NAFTA, NAFTA Invest. These are now in the process of being closed down. They did hold assets which were sold out in 2015, and you know that from looking at the balance sheet changes. We have, if you want to look on the green section, which is the Lasco Invest, which is our properties section, we would like to sell all the properties that are owned by the company, apart from our premises on Elizabeth Island, where our offices are. And I think at this stage I will pass over to Ģirts, who will talk you through what we're doing there. And also, please do ask any questions on this. I know at the meeting in March presentations there was a lot of questions, and I sensed that some people weren't 100% satisfied with their ability to ask the right questions at the right time. So let me pass over to Ģirts.
Good afternoon. I would encourage you not only ask questions but also submit offers for our properties. Can you please pass to the next slide? Yeah, as you probably are aware, Lasco Investment is in full legacy of Latvian shipping since August last year, and as we also have emphasized many times, real estate is not core business of Latvian shipping. Therefore, we have an intention to sell all these properties, and we have managed up till now sell 2 out of 6 properties. This week we closed deal on Latvijas sale, so we are lucky, but still 4 properties are our, and we are looking forward to sell them and return money partly to Latvian Shipping Company Group to cover internal debts, and also to repay debt to VN. Yeah, that's the main thing about Lasco Investment. I pass back microphone to Robert.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to, if I can, to the next slide. I think it's important to know on Lasco Invest, although we've been very clear about our intention to sell, is that we're very open to direct, would prefer to have direct approaches from people who would wish to buy. We want a clear and open, transparent sales process, so please do approach us directly. Go back to the company. We are still 16 vessels owned by Latvian Shipping Company. These are in the small, medium-size segment of the market. We have 6 third-party tankers under technical management. This means basically that the ship management team or ship management company, they use their skills to manage these vessels on behalf of other owners, and we earn a fee for this. We have an extra ship, our 7th vessel, which will be arriving on 11th of May. We are still trying to attract further vessels under third party, under technical management. We had a company visit us this week who have 2 vessels which they are looking potentially to use us. This is a totally unrelated company, so I think this would be a new departure for us, and it would be a very exciting development if we could persuade them to put their ships with us. We are still working hard with one of the main investors, which is the Vitol Group, to try and attract their vessels. We intend, as a shipping company, a Latvian shipping company, to see if we could have somewhere between 30 and 36 vessels under our management. We believe that would be the most efficient use of the size of our company, and would provide extra revenue. Each of our vessels generally will make about $150,000 for the company every year. So if we can leverage that up to somewhere like an extra 10, maybe 15 extra vessels, then that will be a considerable improvement for the group. And I think at that stage, I know it's a very quick presentation, we'll move on to a question and answer session. So should we get on to that?
Thank you for the presentation. Now I will proceed with the questions in the order they were received. But before, I would like to remind you that you can still send in your questions in the section on the right side of your screen. And we have received one question. Can you say which shareholders did not support the capital increase? Robert?
I don't think we are in a position technically to actually see who how everybody voted. I know there's speculation at the meeting about how people voted, but unless they actually volunteered to say how they voted, then we weren't in a position. And I don't think we know how people voted. I can say that Venezuela's NAFTA voted in favour of it. Obviously, it would have been no point needing 75% vote. It would be no point going through with this unless Venezuela's NAFTA were supporting the situation. But beyond that, I don't think we're in a position to say how people exactly voted.
Thank you for an answer. The next question. How do you plan to increase income and boost capital since you were not able to increase capital today? Robert?
So I think one of the ways to increase our income will be to get more vessels under technical management, which we highlighted. We're currently aiming to be by mid-May we'll be at 23 vessels, and we would like to have a further, say, 10, 15 over the next 3 years. On the financial side of things, I think we have to tighten up as a company, become more efficient. All businesses will try that year on year. I think we'll be looking at trying to renegotiate a more competitive financial package with our banks. I don't believe there's a tremendous amount of leeway in that, but if we could have a new financial facility that wasn't totally ring-fenced, then we'd be in a better position to do that. Otherwise, we're open to the market very much to freight rates, which we don't control, and we're open to the vagaries of the markets.
Thank you. Currently there are no other questions sent in, but we will wait for a couple of minutes. Maybe somebody is typing in. So I remind you that you can still send in your questions, and this question pane is on the right side of your screen. So please do so if you have any further questions. There is one more question received. What is your estimation for the next 12 months regarding the business environment where your company operates, including regionally and globally implications? Robert?
Thank you. We are seeing a slight reduction in the forward time charter rates. So in the last 6 weeks we've seen these rates coming off, you know, approximately $750 to $1,000. They're coming out down to about sort of 16,500. So obviously that's a concern. I think everybody's aware that the global economy is keeps on disappointing. That will have implications for our business. We are truly a global business, so we're not just affected by what's happening in Northwest Europe. We are totally global. Our ships can go anywhere. So I think you know, that's some form of consolation. But we are seeing a weakening in freight rates.
Thank you for an answer given. Yes, there are no more questions sent in, but maybe there is one more question. I will read it aloud. What is the reason for the slight reduction of the rates? Is there an oversupply of the capacity globally in your view, and if yes, then how do you plan to stay competitive in this environment?
We, you know, we rely on our vessels being run, our seafarers being the best in the world, and our ships being run by our technical management specialists as efficiently as possible. We believe we offer a first-rate service. You know, our ships are used by Shell, by BP, by all the major oil players, which gives you an indication of the quality of our management of our ships. So, you know, I believe that's good. I think you're seeing, I think you remember from Paul's presentation in March, you saw the fact that new builds were coming on. I believe it was 14–15% expected this year. And yet, you know, we're not expecting the global economy to be growing particularly strongly. So I think these are some of the things that are coming through to affect us. So it's perhaps lack of growth globally, and we've also had a fairly benign winter, so we don't see any huge problems with ice, you know, sort of perhaps the Northern Baltic, and I think these are some of the things that come slowly to fruition. But it's a global market, so to put specifics on exactly why rates can be under pressure is very difficult to give.
Thank you for an answer given. One more question to come. Have you considered refinancing in a high-yield bond market? There was similar transaction with Tallink.
I believe Tallink was somewhere like 5 or 6% on their bond. You know, we're looking at somewhere like 2.5, 2.75 over 3-month LIBOR. So I don't believe a bond would be financially beneficial for us when we can actually raise that through a bank syndicate at a lower rate. So one or two people have pushed us a little bit for looking at the bond market. I don't believe it's something that we need to. I think, you know, another question on the bond market, generally these people are not putting any guarantees there, where we obviously, for our banks, we are pledging our vessels against the loan, so that's obviously why we partly get a reduction on the rates.
Thank you for an answer given. As I see, there are no more new questions sent in, but we will wait maybe a couple of minutes, so if you have any questions, you can type them in on the right side of your screen. So all questions are answered by now. There are no new questions sent in. For your information, record of the presentation will be available in Nasdaq Baltic YouTube channel webinar playlist and also investors portal nowtheslatest.lv. Dear speakers, thank you for the presentation and for answers given. Participants, thank you for joining.